The season's over, but basketball is never over. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Sestashan, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA. So I know a lot of Raptor fans are disappointed that we lost, but this season is not a dud. Neither is it in any way an unsuccessful season. So without further ado, let's talk the Raptors season. Now, we started off this season with, drafting Scottie Barnes, and a lot of people had doubt about that. They wanted Jalen Suggs because Jalen Suggs was a more mainstream name. He was a point guard with us, possibly get parting ways with Kyle Lowry. We needed a point guard and all of that stuff. And then it turned into basically, Kyle Lowry getting traded for Precious Achua, and the Raptors trying to figure out, or maybe it was the other way. But anyways, a lot of people had doubts about that kid as well. They're like, why didn't we get Tyler Hero? So people were coming into this, season believing that we are going into a rebuild of some sort, and we don't have the star power to be able to win games or to be successful. And a lot of media, a lot of NBA analysts, all those people kind of counted us out. They thought that we would either be a playing team or not even a play-in team at all, and be in the lottery next year. And the season started with bad news in the sense that Pascal wouldn't be available because he has shoulder surgery, and then we didn't start off well. We were inconsistent with people coming in and out, OG getting hurt, Freddie getting hurt, COVID protocols, Gary Trent Jr. getting hurt, ending up in COVID protocols, all of those things. But eventually, the Raptors started to catch a little bit of fire. They would win 5 games, and they would lose 2 games. They were inconsistent in those aspects. And then near the, what's it called, the All-Star break, basically we catch a stride. We start winning a lot more. Then the break comes. We don't come out of the break very well. And but then Pascal starts to figure out things, and he, basically because Freddie got out of the lineup, so did Gary Trent Jr. So OG wasn't available. He decides to carry us on his back. Eventually, we get to the point where we are fighting for either staying in the play-in or ending up in the playoffs right away. And the Raptors put their foot on the accelerator, and they end up at the fifth seed. Then we get to the playoffs. Playoffs don't go well for us, especially if Scottie Barnes gets hurt. Gary Trent Jr. is sick already. Freddie's dealing with a knee issue. The only healthy guy we have, OG coming off of an injury, the only healthy guy we have is Pascal Siakam. And we go down 3-0. And, everybody's counting us out at that time as well. They're like, we're never going to win this series. Now it's just going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, this and that. The Raptors fight their way back like they always do, make it a series and put the pressure on the other side. And basically, we lose yesterday in a blowout. But overall, if I look back at this season, there's a lot of positives that the Raptors had that make this season a successful season. Number one is that the Raptors drafted a superstar in Scottie Barnes. A lot of people doubted this kid because of his mechanics, because he was coming out of the bench, because he was playing for a school that nobody really knows about. Whereas Jalen Suggs had the buzzer beater, he's more media present and all those things. But I said it before the draft: this kid fits with the Raptors. He fits with the intangibles. He's a winner. He's a hard worker, and everything like that showed for us. And that this kid, Scottie Barnes, won the Rookie of the Year. So how can you say that the season wasn't successful? Even though that's an individual award, that has a lot to do with how he fit into the team, what he contributed to the team, and how the team promoted him. So that's number one. Number two is that one of our guys ended up being an all-star. A guy who was undrafted, the guy who nobody really thought would make it to the league in any way or be successful, in Freddie VanVleet, and he ended up being an all-star this year. So, and he bet on himself, and this team bet on himself, this organization bet on him, and they got him to the point where he was an all-star. So that's another check mark that we do have an all-star in this team. We have Pascal Siakam, and he got to the point where he was, accepted by the league as one of the premier point guards. And that is something that you have to put in the positive column for this season. Now, the third thing I think the Raptors did well this season is learn to play with adversity, especially given the fact that the Raptors are a very, very young team. and you expect young teams like Oklahoma City that are going through, whether it's a full rebuild, whether it's a semi rebuild, to have a lot of downs, more downs than ups. Whereas the Raptors kind of turned it around. The Raptors, with being very young and with Precious Achua, Scottie Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, all below 24 years of age, and our veterans not even being that old, in Pascal Siakam and Freddie VanVleet, who were all 27 years of age starting this season. The Raptors dealt with adversity very well. They dealt with the injuries, people coming in and out of the lineup. They still managed to win games, whether they were consistent with it, going on streaks or not. They were, coming off of a really, really bad season. They could have expected not to do that well, but they didn't let that get to them. I'm talking about the Tampa season, and they fought through each and every game. They fought through not, having a little bit of the crowd, then not having the crowd at all for almost 45% of the season, then finally having a full crowd, and they were able to deal with that. Still managed to win games, still remain competitive, and then the whole aspect of the COVID surrounding them, the border, the extra work you had to do around the border every time you travel, this and that, and basically the media saying they're not good enough, the fan base being nervous for them, all those things. They dealt very well with them. They remained competitive in every game, whether it was against Phoenix, whether it was Denver, whether it was Brooklyn, whether it was Boston. The Raptors put it to each and every team. So that is another positive, that these guys have learned to deal with adversity. And the biggest thing is that example of that is when you're down 3-0, a young team would fold. They would say, "Hell with this. Let's just get to the off season, go enjoy, go on vacation, whatever the hell they want to do." But the Raptors didn't do that. They didn't fold in. They made that series competitive, 2-0. The third, yesterday we thought we would win. There was a lot of mistakes. Whatever happened, the Raptors still remained competitive in this series up until yesterday. And even game three, we would have won that game if it wasn't, a miracle buzzer beater from Embiid. So that's another positive. The Raptors have learned to deal with adversity. Now, the fourth positive I have for the Raptors is that the Raptors have moved up the timeline, right? When this season started, you thought maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, when Pascal and Freddie are getting a little bit older, their contracts are expiring, the Raptors might be able to trade them. And by that time, Gary Trent and OG would be up to the point, like Scottie Barnes, that will be becoming, be able to transition them into a winning team. But the Raptors have shown that Pascal, with the five starters that we have, they are competitive within the next year. Honestly, we just need to make a few moves, and I'll discuss that in my videos in the future. But they're just a few moves away from becoming extremely, extremely competitive. For them to be able to take on the teams that they took on without any, extra bench, as well as extremely young guys who are still figuring out their games, the Raptors did a damn good job moving the line for development and giving Messiah Ujiri some idea of what small minor changes he needs to make this team competitive as hell, because they were competitive like right now, barring any injuries and stuff. I honestly believe we would have made it to the second round and possibly the Eastern Conference Finals. But there's just a few, with this idea now, Masai Ujiri has a better idea of what he needs to do moving forward in order to make this team a possible championship contender, or at least even more competitive than they have been. And the last thing is, guys, the Raptors did what they needed to do, which was develop their young guys and entertain the hell out of their fan base, as well as develop chemistry. And the Raptors did all three of those things with, Scottie Barnes' game coming forward, Precious Achua becoming, a six-man year type of player. Scottie Barnes looking damn good with his, assisting, finishing around the rim, his shooting getting better. Gary Trent Jr. possibly becoming a deadly scorer in this league. And these things entertained the hell out of the Raptors fan base throughout the whole season, because we saw these guys score 40 points, 30 points, triple doubles, all of these things. So they entertained the hell out of us and made us feel like this team has a future. They developed a structure for us to build, to be, stepping on to move forward. And the Raptors did everything they possibly could to do that for us. And the organization did that, the team did that, and the Raptors are looking good going forward. So if I had to totalize, total this all the positives that the Raptors done, there are some negatives, and I'll get to them. in my next video. But I would grade, balancing what I'm going to talk about in my next video. I would give this team an A minus, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh my God, A minus is too much." And I know, no, there was a lot of doubt about this team, and they did a lot more than was expected. So when somebody does that, you got to give them a positive and a little bit higher than they deserve grade, just because of the intangibles. And the Raptors deserve an A minus on this season, and I was completely satisfied even with the way that they lost. And hopefully, hearing all of these positives that the Raptors have done, the Raptor fans will feel a little bit better about the future of this team, as well as not be as disappointed by yesterday. So that's all I have for you guys for this video. Please stay tuned, because even if the Raptor season is over, it's not over for me. I love making these videos, so I will keep making them about the Raptors season, talking about what we did well, like today, what we didn't do well, analyzing all the players, analyzing the management, the coaching staff, steps you can take for moving forward. And I will drop a video every week for this. So hope you guys enjoyed this content. Hope the Raptor fans feel a little bit better and they will continue to support this team. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys after the next video, or before the next video.